Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Very warm welcome for this Monday morning Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam discussion. Today we are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 19, entitled The Appearance of Shukadeva Goswami, texts 9 and 10. Before we discuss on this verse, let's sing Jai Radha Madhav. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivara Dhari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivara Dhari, Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivara Dhari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivara Dhari, Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivara Dhari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivara Dhari, Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Shri Radhe. Jai Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Shri Radhe. Jai Nitai Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Nitai Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Jaya Nitai Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Nitai Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada, Prabhupada Jaya, Prabhupada Jaya, Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada Jaya, Prabhupada. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura, Hari Bol. जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र शतश्री श्रीमद् हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस शिलाई सी भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, नामाचार्य शिला हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय, मथुरा धाम की जय, गंगा माई की जय, यमुना माई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Samveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Sarvam Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Krishna Madhirastu. Hare Krishna. Today we are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 19, entitled The Appearance of Shukadeva Goswami, Text 9-10. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 19, Text 9-10. Atrir vasiṣṭhaś cyavanaḥ Śaradvān ariṣṭanemir bhṛgur aṅgirāś parāśaro gādhi-suto rāma Utathya indrapramadedhmavāhau medhātithir Devala ārṣṭiṣeṇo bhṛgur gautamaḥ pippalādaḥ Maitreya aurvaḥ kavaṣaḥ kumbhayonir dvaipāyano bhagavān nāradaś. Atri to Narada, all names of the different saintly personalities who arrived there from different parts of the universe. Translation: from different parts of the universe there arrived great sages like Atri, Cyavana, Śaradvān, ariṣṭanemir, bhṛgur, vasiṣṭhaś, parāśaro, Vishwamitra, aṅgirāś, parāśaro, Utathya, indrapramadedhmavāhau, medhātithir, Devala, ariṣṭaṣeṇo, bhāradvājo, gautamaḥ, pippalādaḥ, Maitreya, aurvaḥ, kavaṣaḥ, kumbhayonir, dvaipāyano, and the great personality Narada. Purport by His Divine Grace Śrīla Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Cyavana. In the purport, the details about the great personalities is given. Cyavana, a great sage and one of the sons of Bhṛgu Muni. He was born prematurely when his pregnant mother was kidnapped. Cyavana is one of the 6 sons of his father. Bhṛgu, when Brahmaji was performing a great sacrifice on behalf of Varuna, Maharshi Bhṛgu was born from the sacrificial fire. He was a great sage and his very dear wife was Puloma. He could travel in space like Durvasa, Narada and others, and he used to visit all the planets of the universe. Before the battle of Kurukshetra, he tried to stop the battle. Sometimes he instructed bhāradvājo Muni about astronomical evolution, and he is the author of the great Bhṛgu Samhita, the great astrological calculation. He explained how air, fire, water, and earth are generated from ether. He explained how the air in the stomach works and regulates the intestines. He explained, as a great philosopher, he logically established the eternity of the living entity, Mahabharata. He was also a great anthropologist, and the theory of evolution was long ago explained by him. He was a scientific propounder of the four divisions and orders of human society known as the Varnashrama institution. He converted the Kshatriya king Vitahavya into a Brahmana. vasiṣṭhaś, see Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 196. parāśaro, he is the grandson of Vasishtha Muni and father of Vyasadeva. He is the son of Maharshi Shakti, and his mother's name was Adrashyati. He was in the womb of his mother when she was only 12 years old, and from within the womb of his mother he learned the Vedas. His father was killed by a demon, Kalmashapada, and to avenge this, he wanted to annihilate the whole world. He was restrained, however, by his grandfather Vasiṣṭha. He then performed a Rakshasa killing yajna, but Maharshi Pulastiya restrained him. He begot Vyasadeva, being attracted by Satyavati, who was to become the wife of Maharaj Shantanu. By the blessings of parāśaro, Satyavati became fragrant for miles. He was present also during the time of Bhishma's death. He was spiritual master of Maharaj Janaka and a great devotee of Lord Shiva. He is the author of many Vedic scriptures and sociological directions. Gādhi-suto, or Vishwamitra, a great sage of austerity and mystic power, he is famous as gādhi-suto because his father was Gādhi, a powerful king of the province of Kanya-Kupcha, part of Uttar Pradesh. Although he was a Kshatriya by birth, he became a Brahmana in the very same body by the power of his spiritual achievements. He picked a quarrel with Vasishtha Muni when he was a Kshatriya king and performed a great sacrifice in cooperation with Maganga Muni, and thus was able to vanquish the sons of Vasishtha. He became a great yogi, and yet he failed to check his senses and thus was obliged to become the father of Shakuntala, the beauty queen of the world history. Once when he was a Kshatriya king, he visited the hermitage of Vasishtha Muni, and he was given a royal reception. Vishwamitra wanted from Vasishtha a cow named Nandini, and the Muni refused to deliver it. Vishwamitra stole the cow, and thus there was a quarrel between the sage and the king. Vishwamitra was defeated by the spiritual strength of Vasishtha, and thus the king decided to become a Brahmana. Before becoming a Brahmana, he underwent severe austerity on the bank of Kaushika. He was also one who tried to stop the Kurukshetra war. Aṅgirāś. He is one of the 6 mental sons of Brahma and the father of Brihaspati, the great learned priest of the demigods in the heavenly planets. He was born of the semen of Brahmaji given to a cinder of fire. Utathya and Samvarta are his sons. It is said that he is still performing austerity and chanting the holy name of the Lord at a place known as Alokananda on the banks of the Ganges. Parashurama, see Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1.9.6. Utathya, one of the 3 sons of Maharaj Aṅgirāś. He was a spiritual master of Maharaj Mandhata. He married Bhadra, the daughter of Soma, moon. Varuna kidnapped his wife Bhadra, and to retaliate the offense of the god of water, he drank all the water of the world. Medhātithir, an old sage of yore, an assembly member of the heavenly king Indradeva. His son was Kanva Muni, who brought up Shakuntala in the forest. He was promoted to the heavenly planet by strictly following the principles of retired life, Vanaprastha. Devala, a great authority like Narada Muni and Vyasadeva. His good name is on the list of authorities mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna acknowledged Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He met Maharaj Yudhishthira after the Battle of Kurukshetra, and he was the elder brother of Dhaumya, the priest of the Pandava family. Like the Kshatriyas, he also allowed his daughter to select her own husband in a Swayamvara meeting, and at that ceremony, all the bachelor sons of rishis were invited. According to some, he is not Asita Devala. bhāradvājo, see Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1.9.6. Gautamaḥ, one of the 7 great sages of the universe. Śaradvān Gautamaḥ was one of his sons. Persons in the Gautama Gotra dynasty today are either his family descendants or in his disciplic succession. The Brahmanas who profess Gautama Gotra are generally family descendants, and the Kshatriyas and Vaishyas who profess Gautama Gotra are all in the line of his disciplic succession. He was the husband of the famous Ahalya, who turned into stone when Indradeva, the king of heavens, molested her. Ahalya was delivered by Lord Ramachandra. Gautama was the grandfather of Kripacharya, one of the heroes of the battle of Kurukshetra. Maitreya, a great rishi of yore. He was spiritual master of Vidura and a great religious authority. He advised Dhritarashtra to keep good relations with the Pandavas. Duryodhana disagreed with us and thus was cursed by him. He met Vyasadeva and had religious discourses with him. So here the names of great personalities are mentioned. And before we discuss on this purport, let us offer some prayers. Om Jnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Shreshtham Manamapi Shachiputram Atra Swarupam Rupam Tasyagrajam Murupurim Mathurim Goshthavati Radha Kundam Girivaram Maho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Adadandastrinam Dante Idam Yachah Punah Punah Shriman Rupa Padambhojam Dhulisyam Janma Janmani He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 19, entitled The Appearance of Shukadeva Goswami, texts 9 and 10. Atrir vasiṣṭhaś cyavana Śaradvān ariṣṭanemir bhṛgur aṅgirāś parāśaro gādhi-suto rāma Utathya indrapramadedhmavāhau medhātithir Devala ariṣṭaṣeṇo bhṛgur gautamaḥ pippalādaḥ Maitreya aurvaḥ kavaṣaḥ kumbhayonir dvaipāyano bhagavān nāradaś. So here the names of all the sages who appeared in that banks of the river Ganga where Srila Parikshit Maharaj was present is mentioned. So the names of the rishis that are mentioned are Atri, Vasiṣṭha, Cyavana, Śaradvān. So the four names here, and then ariṣṭanemir, bhṛgur, aṅgirāś. The three names in the second line, so that's 7. Parāśaro, gādhi-suto, rāma. Then it is 3 more, so that's 10. And then Utathya, indrapramadedhmavāhau. So that's 2 more rishis' names there. So that is 12. And then in the second verse, the verse 10, that is medhātithir, Devala, ariṣṭaṣeṇo. So 3 names there. bhṛgur, gautamaḥ, pippalādaḥ. So that is 3 more. So that is 6. Maitreya, aurvaḥ, kavaṣaḥ, kumbhayonir. So that's 10. And then dvaipāyano, bhagavān, nāradaś. So there are 2 more. The last 2 are Srila Vyasadeva and bhagavān nāradaś. So Narada Muni. So here we see 24, the names of the 24 sages who assembled from, as Srila Prabhupada mentions in the transliteration, all names of different saintly personalities who arrived there from different parts of the universe. And I see that there is someone saying Hindi mein bolo, so I might say in Hindi as well sometimes, but this is mainly an English-oriented lecture. तो इस पद्य में ये बोला गया है कि विभिन्न देशों और भागों से, दुनिया के भागों से बहुत सारे ऋषि मुनि गंगा के तट पर परीक्षित महाराज के साथ श्रीमद् भागवतम की कथा सुनने के लिए उपस्थित होते हैं. One of the things to understand here is that wherever there is discussion about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Personality of Godhead personally is present there. जहाँ जहाँ भगवान की गाथा होती है और भगवान की कीर्तन होते हैं, उस जगह भगवान स्वयं उपस्थित होते हैं. यत्र गायन्ति मद्भक्त तत्र तिष्ठामि नारद. नाहं वसामि वैकुंठे योगिनां हृदयेषु वा. यत्र गायन्ति मद्भक्त्या तत्र तिष्ठामि नारद. So Krishna says to Narada that I am not present in Vaikuntha. Naham vasami Vaikunthe. मैं वैकुंठ में वास नहीं करता हूँ. योगिनाम हृदयेषु न. I am not in the hearts of the yogis. Yatra gayanti madbhaktya. So Krishna is saying to Narada that wherever my devotees are singing my glories, जहाँ मेरे भक्त मेरी आराधना, मेरे भजन, मेरे कीर्तन करते हैं, तत्र तिष्ठामि नारद. I am there. मैं वहाँ वास करता हूँ. So this is the transcendental position of being engaged in hearing and chanting about the Lord. भगवान के बारे में सुनना और उनके बारे में जब हम बात करते हैं, तो उस स्थिति में जब सारे भक्त मिलकर उस स्थिति में रहते हैं, तो भगवान वहाँ रहते हैं. भगवान पर्सनली वहाँ रहते हैं. उनके so this is the transcendental position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Krishna personally has said this to Narada. And we know नामनामकारी बहुधा निज सर्वशक्ति तत्रार्पित नियमित स्मरणेन काला एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवान ममापि दुर्दैवम idrisham ihajani nanuraga. So this is said by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the second verse of Shikshashtakam. Shikshashtakam are the 8 verses that Krishna in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has spoken. And in the second verse, it is mentioned about how Krishna's names has full potency in it. भगवान के नामों में सब कुछ निहित है. कुछ भी बाहर की चीजों का कुछ भी जरूरत नहीं है. भगवान के नाम के अंदर सब कुछ है. नाम नामकारी बहुधा निज सर्व शक्ति. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that in your name, O Lord, there is all potency, all energy. And tatrarpita niyamita smaranena kala. And there is no hard and fast rule in terms of when the names of the Lord can be chanted. Niyamita smarane na kala. It can be chanted at any time, any place, any circumstances. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Etadrashi tava kripa bhagwan. O Krishna, this is your costless mercy that you are personally present in your name. Etadrashi tava kripa bhagwan mamapi durdaivam idrisham ihajani nanuraga. I am so unfortunate, O Krishna, that I have not developed any love, any affection, any attachment for your holy names. So this is the so here Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this verse is in the is taking the position of a conditioned living entity and saying this prayer from that perspective. This is a state of, unfortunately, the conditioned living entity in this material universe. जब भोग और ऐश्वर्य से मन आसक्त हो जाता है तो भगवान की भक्ति में मन नहीं लगता. भोग ऐश्वर्य प्रसक्ता नाम तया पहरत चेतसाम व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धि समाधो न विधीयते. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that when one is attached to bhoga and aishwarya, so bhoga is the sense gratification. So when one thinks that the sense gratification is the be and end of everything, then it is like taya apaharita chetasam. It is like the mind has been kidnapped by that intensity to enjoy in the bodily form, in the material form. So vyavasayatmika buddhir samadhau na vidhiyate. So Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that when such a condition is there, when one is influenced by the sense gratification, this vyavasayatmika buddhi, this is the vyavasayatmika buddhi is ekeha kurunandana bahushakhahi anantascha buddhyo avyavasayina. So Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that when one is in that state of vyavasayatmika buddhi, that means that one is in that one-pointed loving devotional service to Krishna. That is ekeha kurunandana. So Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that when one is in love with the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, then there is a one-pointed concentration in terms of remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is ekeha kurunandana, that is one. But there is bahushakhahi anantascha buddhyo avyavasayina. So Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that one who is not in that vyavasayatmika buddhi, or that one-pointed loving devotional service for Krishna. Then there is bahushakhahi anantascha. Then one is actually under the influence of hundreds and thousands of other thoughts, which has got nothing to do with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in terms of remembering Him. So there is Shrotavyadini Rajendra Nrinam Santi Sahasrasa Apashyatam Atmatattvam Griheshu Grahamedhinam. So this is mentioned in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. It is said that this is the Bhoga Ishwarya Prasaktanam. So this is Shrotavyadini Rajendra. So Srila Shukadeva Goswami mentions to Parikshit Maharaj that he addresses Parikshit Maharaj as Rajendra. He is the emperor. So he says, O emperor of this universe, O King Parikshit Maharaj, Shrotavyadini, people are hearing lots of things. Nrinam Santi Sahasrasa. So the people are hearing thousands of different things. And what is it? It has nothing to do with understanding our original nature. Apashyatam Atmatattvam. So it is that when one is not seeing one's original nature, which is eternal, which has nothing to do with the changing body. So when one is not seeing Atma Tattvam, when one is not seeing one's original constitutional position, then that is Griheshu Grahamedhinam. Then Nidraya Kriyate Naktam Vyavayena Chavavaya Divacha Artha Ihaya Rajan Kutumba Bharanenava. This is mentioned in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam about Nidraya Kriyate Naktam Vyavayena Chavavaya. So it is mentioned that unfortunately in that state, one is not understanding one's original constitutional position, and then therefore the mind is not being focused in one's original situation. So the focus of mind should be in terms of knowing one's original nature. And then when one is in that, reveling in that original nature, Antakalecha mam eva smaran muktva kalevaram. Ya prayati sammadbhavam yati nasti atra samshaya. So all these sages mentioned here, the 24 sages that are mentioned here in these two verses of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, verses 9 and 10 of Canto 1, chapter 19, they know Atma Tattva. That is their primary position. They know that Ishvara Paramaha Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. So they know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ishvara Paramaha Krishna, and he is an embodiment of Sat Chit Anand. That is the truth, the existence, the consciousness, and the bliss. And Anadir Adir Govinda. So Krishna himself does not have any beginning, but he is the beginning of everything. And his name is Govinda, one who gives pleasure to the senses. Go. Go means senses, and go also means cows. So Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead who gives pleasure to the senses and to the cows. Anadir Adir Govinda. Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. And this is so Narada Muni is mentioned in this verse. And one of the definitions that Narada Muni gives about bhakti, about loving devotional service, is Sarvopadhi Vinirmuktam. So Narada Muni says that when we get rid of all our designations, upadhi, Vinirmuktam, totally free from all designations, Tat Paratvena Nirmalam, then we become pure. So when we have all these designations, we are identifying with something that is temporary. all the material designations are temporary. Everyone can understand that, because the material designations are valid for the duration of this particular body. Once this body, tatha dehantaram prapti. So once this body ends, then this designation related to this body will also end. And then a new chapter will start in terms of another body. So this is, therefore, all these designations that are related to the body is temporary. And therefore, all those designations has to be given up. And this is what Maharaj Parikshit was doing here. When he knew that he got the curse from Shringi, the son of Shamika Rishi, that he will be bitten by Takshaka, the snake bird, in 7 days. What did Maharaj Parikshit do? He gave up his resignation. So he went into the state of Vanaprastha, going to the forest. So this is a varnashrama. Varnashrama charavata purushena paraha puman Vishnur aradhyate pantha nanyat tattosha karanam. This is mentioned in the scriptures, that the varna and ashrama, the four varnas are brahmachari, the four ashramas are brahmachari, grahastha, vanaprastha and sannyas, and the four varnas are brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya and shudra. So this varnashrama, when one is following the varnashrama dharma, purushena paraha puman, so one is rendering loving devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, through the observance of varna and ashrama. Purushena paraha puman Vishnur aradhyate pantha nanyat tattosha karanam. So that is the way of worshipping Vishnu, through the observance of varna and ashrama. If the observance of varna and ashrama is not leading one to loving devotional service of Supreme Personality of Godhead, then it is shrama eva hi kevala. It is just a hard labor. So whatever activities are being done, yat karoshi yadashnasi yajjuhoshi dadasiyat yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. So Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that whatever activities you are doing, yat karoshi yadashnasi, whatever you are eating, yajjuhoshi dadasiyat, whatever you are giving, whatever prayers you are doing, yat tapasyasi kaunteya, whatever austerities are you're doing, O son of Kunti, tat kurushva madarpanam. Do it as an offering to me. This is the understanding of all these great sages mentioned in these two verses of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So all these sages know that when this yagyartha karmana anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. So Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita about how all the activities should be done as an act of offering of love to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yagyartha karmana. So it is for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All the activities have to be done like that. Anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. So Krishna mentions in that verse in Bhagavad Gita that if the activities are not done with that frame of mind as an offering of love to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then one is in karma bandhana. One is entangled in the meshes of action and reaction. This is called karma bandhana. Tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. So therefore Krishna says that therefore all the activities should be performed mukta sangha, without any attachment. And samachara. Samachara means whatever activities one is doing in a state of mind of equanimity, without attachment and in a state of equanimity. Mukta sango nahamvadi dhrityukta utsaha samanvita siddhya siddhyo nirvikara karta satvika uchyate. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita about how one is performing activities in mode of goodness. So how are the activities performed in mode of goodness? It is mukta sango, without any attachment. Nahamvadi. So there is this ahamvadi. Ahamvadi is someone acting with a false ego. So when someone is doing some activity, one is thinking that I'm doing so great. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But actually, whatever is being done by the modes of material nature. So this is prakriti kriyamanani gune karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudhatma karta hamiti manyate. Actually, all the activities are being done by the modes of material nature. So when there is mode of goodness, we are involved in these discussions about transcendence, and we are in that platform of reaching transcendence. It is the launching pad towards transcendental situation, the mode of goodness. But then when there is mode of passion, one is rajaso lobhamevacha. One is in greed, a state of greed, and pramada moho tamasau. And when one is in mode of ignorance, one is in a crazy situation, unfortunately. Pramada, prakrishta rupena mada. So mada means intoxicated. So when one is in the lower modes, like mode of ignorance, one doesn't totally know what one is doing really. So that is pramada moha, and there is too much attachment. That is mode of ignorance, and that is ajnana. So ajnana is ignorance. So there is another comment that has come. Hindi में बोलो आदर्श मौर्य. So मैं हिंदी में बोलने की कोशिश करूंगा. हिंदी उतना अच्छा नहीं है मेरा, और यहाँ पे ये जो चैनल है यहाँ पे ज़्यादा लोग अंग्रेजी में सुनते हैं, लेकिन मैं बोलने की कोशिश ज़रूर करूंगा हिंदी में बीच बीच में. तो जो चीज़ है अज्ञान, हमारा जो शरीर है वो पंच तत्वों से बना हुआ है. सो भूमिर अप अनल वायु खम मन बुद्धिरेव च अहंकारम इतियम में भिन्न प्रकृतिर अष्टधा. भगवान गीता में बोलते हैं कि हमारा शरीर बना है भूमि, पानी, भूमि अप पानी, अनल आग, फायर. जैसे जठराग्नि में अग्नि होती है. सो कृष्णा भगवान बोलते हैं कि अहम वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनाम देहमाश्रिता प्राणापान समायुक्तम पचाम्यन्नम चतुर्विधम. सो भगवान बोलते हैं कि मैं वैश्वानर अग्नि हूँ जठराग्नि में, और मैं ही पचन करता हूँ. जो भी हम खाते हैं उसका पचन भगवान के वैष्णवर अग्नि से होती है. हम वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनाम देहमाश्रिता प्राणापान समायुक्तम पचाम्यन्नम चतुर्विधम. भगवान बोलते हैं कि ये जो अग्नि है ये पचाती है, जो भी हम खाते हैं उसको पचाती है. और प्राण अपान, जो वायु है, वायु का जो समीकरण होता है वो भी भगवान के भगवान बोलते हैं भगवद गीता में, उनकी जो शक्ति है उसके कारण होता है. तो भगवान की शक्तियाँ जो है, एक है पराशक्ति और एक है अपराशक्ति. सो जो पराशक्ति है, परा यानी जो मटेरियल या जो भी मटेरियल तत्व है, जैसे अर्थ, वाटर, फायर, एयर, ईथर, भूमि, पानी, आग और पवन, और एक जो स्काई, जो आकाश है, ये सब मटेरियल तत्व है। और इसके जो परे है, अपरेयम इतस्त्वान्यम विद्धि में प्रकृतिम पराम जीवभूतम महाबाहो ये यदम धार्यते जगत। तो कृष्णा भगवान बोलते हैं भगवद गीता में दैट जो इन तत्वों से परे है, पराशक्ति है, अपरेयम इतस्त्वान्यम विद्धि में प्रकृतिम पराम, क्या है वो? जीवभूत, दैट इज द लिविंग एंटिटीज, महाबाहो। सो कृष्णा अर्जुना को बोलते हैं महाबाहो। ही एड्रेसेस अर्जुना एज द वन हु हैज माइटी आर्म्ड, so he is the warrior. Yayedam dharete jagat. So this is the jiva bhuta, the living entities. So we are all living entities. Mame vamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanātana. So हम सब जीव हैं और हम भगवान के अभिन्न अंग हैं। We are eternally in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is no point in time when we are not related to Supreme Personality of Godhead. ऐसा कोई समय नहीं है जब हम भगवान के समीप नहीं है। हम हमेशा भगवान के समीप हैं। So that's why the path of self-realization is called self-realization. जो आत्म तत्व है, आत्म तत्व की अनुभूति तब होती है जब हम जो विकारें हैं, मन की जो विकारें हैं, उसको जब हम कंट्रोल करते हैं, जब हम उसको when we try to yogash chitta vritti nirodha, this is mentioned by Patanjali. So he says that what is yoga? योग का परिभाषा क्या है? That is chitta vritti nirodha. So yoga means all the turbulences that are happening in the mind, if we are able to control it, जो भी मन की वृत्तियां होती हैं, मन एक ऐसा चीज है जो हमेशा इधर से उधर कूदता रहता है। Mind is always jumping from one place to another. It is not able to focus on one particular topic. So and what is the best way to focus the mind? When we understand our relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. जब हम अपने भगवान के प्रति जो हमारा जो रिलेशनशिप है, जब हम वो पहचानते हैं, तो मन ऑटोमेटिकली शांत हो जाता है और मन ऑटोमेटिकली भगवान के चरणों में समर्पित हो जाता है। So that is the beginning of the real spiritual life. सही आध्यात्मिक जीवन तब आरंभ होता है जब मन भगवान के चरणों में समर्पित हो जाता है। So therefore Krishna says mana eva manushyanam karanam moksha bandhane bandhaya vishaya sangam mokshaya nirvishayam mana. It is mentioned that mind itself is a cause of entanglement and mind itself is a cause of liberation. So when the mind is attached to the sense objects, it is in the conditioned state. But when mind is detached, how mind gets detached? Param drishtva nivartate. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. So Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that living entity might restrain oneself from the sense gratification in an artificial way. So what is the artificial way of restraint? When one is forcefully trying to restrain oneself from sense gratification. But rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. But how is that restraint? Because being in the material world, matter is very prominent. We don't, even though spirituality, spirit is the basis of everything that we see in this material world. Like even the fact that I am talking and whoever is listening is happening, the reason for that happening is because there is spirit. So there is spirit in me, because of which I'm able to talk, and there is spirit in whoever is listening, because of which they are able to listen. So the spirit is without spirit, there is no consciousness. Neither can I talk, nor can anyone listen. So spirit is the basis for all the worlds. Even the material world, spirit is the basis of the material world also. But in the material world, matter becomes very prominent. And that's why it's called material world. And what is matter? Matter is something that changes constantly. So even in the scientific theory, they say energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. So that is what is happening. The matter and the famous theory of relativity that Einstein has, E is equal to mc square. So when the mass is traveling at the speed of light times square, it becomes energy. So the mass and energy is interchangeable. So what does this mean? That at the end of the day, everything is energy and everything is a vibration. So when we are vibrating on the frequency of transcendental vibration, what is the transcendental vibration? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is transcendental vibration. Golokera Prem Dhana Harinama Sankirtan is mentioned by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. He says that the love that exists in the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan Dham, the original abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, the Prema Dhana there, that is the original wealth. When we have love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is the original eternal wealth. All the other wealth is temporary. It cannot, one can be a billionaire or a trillionaire, but at the end of the body, everything goes away. But what remains is that love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead that exists within us, that remains always, eternally. And that is what is seen in this verse when we are reading the names of all these wonderful sages. These are the sages who are Bhejire Munio Athagre Bhagavantam Madhokshajam Kalpante Anutanhiya. So it is mentioned that this is all these munis and all these sages. So it is mentioned Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adidevam Ajam Vibhum Ahustam Rishyas Sarve Devarshi Nāradaś Tatha Asito Devalo Vyaso Swayam Chaiva Bravishine. So when Arjuna sees the universal form of Krishna, he addresses Krishna as, you are the supreme Brahman, Param Brahma, Param Dhama, you are the supreme abode, Pavitram, you are the most pure, Paramam Bhavan, you are the supreme person, Purusham, you are the person, you are the original person from whom everything emanates, Shashvatam, you are eternal, Divyam, you are transcendental, divine, Adi Devam, you are the origin of everyone, including all the demigods. Ajam, you are unborn, and Vibhu, you are the greatest. And then in the next verse, Arjuna says, this Pavitram Ahustam Rishayas Sarve Devarshi Nāradaś Tatha. All the rishis are saying the same thing. Ahustam rishyas sarve. So all the rishis mentioned here, they all know that Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Ete chamsha kalapumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Indrari vyakulam lokam mridayanti yuge yuge. This is mentioned in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And all these sages, they know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when one knows that, then aham sarvasya prabho mattas sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samandita. When one knows that Krishna is the origin of everything, prabhava mattas sarvam pravartate, everything is coming from Krishna. When one knows this in truth, iti matva, what does one do? Bhajante mam. One engages in loving devotional service of Krishna. And who is such a person? Such a person is Buddha, one who has got real intelligence. And how does this person with real intelligence engage in devotional service? Bhava samanvita. So it is with full bhava. What is bhava? Bhava is that emotional attachment that we have. That is bhava. So that is what is the distinguishing factor that we have. That transcendental divine emotions that we can, and that is what Krishna wants. He doesn't. So bhava grahi janardana. It is mentioned in the scriptures that Krishna is only interested in our love. Otherwise, everything else, Krishna is bhoktaram yagyatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. Krishna is actually the owner of everything. There is nothing that he does not own. So what can a living entity give to the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Nothing. Except, this is what, patram pushpam phalam toyam yume bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti upahritam ashnami prayatartam. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. So that is the only thing that the living entity can sincerely offer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That loving devotional service. So with that, I would like to conclude this discussion. Atrir vasiṣṭhaś cyavana Śaradvān ārṣṭiṣeṇo bhṛgur aṅgirāś parāśaro gādhi-suto rāma Utathya indrapramadedhmavāhau medhātithir Devala ariṣṭaṣeṇo bhṛāradvājo gautamaḥ pippalādaḥ Maitreya aurvaḥ kavaṣaḥ kumbhayonir dvaipāyano bhagavān nāradaś. So I see that Sahil, she is asking a question. Sir, I have a doubt how Arjun can see Shri Krishna's divine form. So Sahil ji, in case you're listening now or you want to have a look at it later, the divine form is seen when Krishna gives that ability, divya chakshu. So it is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita as well that when Krishna gives that divine vision, then one is able to see the universal form of the Lord. Without that, one cannot see. So Arjuna was given that divine vision through which, because Arjuna requested that please show me the universal form of Krishna. So Krishna, and one of the basic qualification to see any form of the Lord, and the best form is the form in the name, in the form of his holy name. So to be absorbed in the holy name of the Lord, the basic qualification is bhakto sime sakha cheti. One has to be in the frame of mind of a devotee of Krishna. So only then one will get that vision. Sevon mukhehi jivhado swayameva spurati. Atah Shri Krishna namadi na bhaved grahyam indriye. So all the forms of the Lord, the names of the Lord, and everything related to the Lord cannot be seen by blunt material senses, cannot be focused by the blunt material mind. But when the mind and the senses are engaged in the loving devotional service of Krishna, then swayam eva spurati adha. Then the Supreme Personality of Godhead reveals himself to us. So the spiritual path is a path of revelation. It is not a path of that I will somehow or other, I will make my way through. Of course, the determination is needed. The determination is needed in terms of having that loving devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not in the sense that I will try and do it myself. If that is the state, then one is actually in the Jnana Marga. In the Jnana Marga, it is because in the Jnana Marga, one is only in that Brahma Jyoti stage. And in that Brahma Jyoti stage, the thinking is that there is nothing other than Brahman. Sarvam khalva idam Brahman. That is an aphorism in Veda, and but that is a beginning. Brahmano hi pratishtaham amritasya vyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya ekantikasya cha. So Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that I am the basis of Brahman. Brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kamshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. So Krishna mentions that once one is in that Brahma bhuta stage, one is not hankering or lamenting, and one is equal to all the living entities, and then mad bhakti labhate param. In that state, one attains transcendental loving devotional service to Krishna, and then one has that vision to see Krishna. So hope I have answered your question, Sahilji. Thank you very much. Let me see the other comments. Amigo Hare Krishna, Akshat Khandelwal, Om, Thug Girls, Radhe Radhe, and Hindi mein bolo, and Adarsh Maurya has said Hindi mein. So I've tried to say some Hindi words, but I'm neither good at English nor good at Hindi. Thank you. Radhe Radhe. And, thank you, Sahil. Thank you very much for listening. Shaurya Pawar, Jai Shri Krishna. Thank you very much for your time today. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschyata Deshatarine. Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Krishne Matirastu. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.